sweet peas, welcome back to another Tuesday, another week, another video. Welcome back to another little story time. As you can tell from the title of this video, it's not the happiest one, so I'm actually surprised myself as to why I'm in such a cheery demeanour, but we'll roll with it. I'm not complaining. In full disclosure, to be very honest with you, I have actually tried recording this video twice before. Once was about a month ago, rewatched it, and I was like, Nope, that is not the vibe I want to put out in the world. That is not helpful to anybody. And the second time was about half an hour ago. When I make my videos, I loosely script them, so I know the points that I want to talk about, and you know me. If you watch my videos, you know I waffle. This one was just all over the place, and I think it was helpful because it helped me think about what I wanted to say. But I'm ready to say it. I feel like weird talking about this. I know I speak very openly online and I love that, but even I have boundaries, and I do feel like this topic crosses that boundary a little bit. I'm not used to talking about feeling sad very much. My point is, hopefully it will help someone. Hopefully it will help me feel less alone. If there are other people that can relate, that's a selfish motivation. Hopefully it might help those people, if there are people who do relate, to be able to feel better about themselves and maybe make some changes in their lives that are like really important. I don't know why I did that accent. I am a class clown trying to deflect my uncomfortability with humour. There you go. Call an egg an egg. I had an emotional breakdown. I really did. And everyone's like, what? No, not you, Shaaba, you're Poppy. For those of you who may not understand that reference, Poppy is the pink troll with the funky hair who's like annoying because she's just so happy all the time. That's me. Even when things go really wrong, it's just like dancing and being like, yeah, this'll be a fun memory. Let's see the bright side of this really horrible situation. But sometimes there are even things that Shaaba Poppy can't deal with. And that happened a lot this year. It wasn't even to do with Miss Brona. Not even to do with the general issues of 2020, which was just a nice little cherry, nice little pair of cherries on top of my little emotional breakdown Sunday. I've had some personal issues that have been building up for years. It's my like big flaw that everyone's like, oh my god, Shaaba. I had stupid like relationships and it just didn't go well. Like there was the straw that broke the camel's back. I wouldn't even say it was an argument. It was like a heated discussion from my end with very little response, and it just put me in a place of sadness. True sadness. I was so upset. I can count on less than one hand how many times I felt like that before. I felt so much anxiety and so much stress, and the outcome when I allowed myself to feel was just unproductive, un-Shaaba-like, just not me. Oh, it's weird. It's so weird to be talking about this, but yes, as I said, hopefully it will help. So, let me take you back to that day. Little story time, sit down, grab yourself a cup of tea. I was crying on the bed, as I often do. I was sitting and I was blubbing. Not like movie crying where girls are like, oh, proper, full on, candles coming out the nose, upset crying. It's not unusual for me to cry. I need to put that out there. I'm a very emotional person. I cry often. And normally when I cry alone. And when I cry, something happens in my brain. And this is where I think people are going to be like, oh, this girl is so weird. Let's click off. But try and see from my point of view, because I can't be ashamed of things that I can't control. And this is me. This is my body. It's what it does. I cry to a point sorry, my mind was just like, wow, I wonder what people think I'm gonna say. Maybe you think I'm gonna be like, oh, and then I spurt out green goo. It's nothing that weird. I'm building it up too much. Basically, when I cry, I feel emotion. In my brain, I have an inner monologue that's constantly going, and I have an outside feeling that reflects my inside. Does that make sense? My outsides reflect my insides. When I'm sad, my eyes start to tear up and I cry. My nose goes funny, my breathing goes funny, my shoulders like tense up, and sometimes I shake like when it gets really bad, and I just feel sad and I look sad because I am sad. Okay, Shaaba, get to the point. My point is, normally people do that and they are sad for a while until they cry themselves to sleep, or until they stop crying but just still feel really sad. And my fluff, there's fluff. My body doesn't do that. More to the point, my brain doesn't do that. And I'll be like, and then all of a sudden, my brain will just be like, okay, that's enough. And it switches. It turns itself off inside of feeling that emotion. Does that make sense? Like, imagine if sadness was a tap inside my brain, and the tap turns on because something sad happens, and then for normal people, it would gradually, slowly kind of turn off, right? And then there'll be like drips left, and then it would slowly disappear. I don't know, the plumbing would get fixed. I don't know where to take this metaphor. My point is, for my brain, when it's on and like gushing with sadness, all of a sudden, the water will just run out. There aren't even drips left. Like, it's just gone. And my outsides, my crying and my body will continue being sad, and my inner monologue will change from, oh my god, I'm so sad, to being like, okay, what's for dinner? Or like, what's happening in the news? Or, hey, you have that thing to do, let's go and do it. And it then gets to a point where there are multiple voices in my head. I realise how that sounds. Yeah, and one voice will be saying, come on, let's get on with stuff now, this isn't very productive use of the time. And the other voice in my head will be like, but your body is still crying. Like, look at yourself. You look so stupid. Like, just laugh, you know? And to prove to myself that that is how I'm feeling, I will often then, and I realise how weird this sounds, just laugh. Or do something different. Like, I'll go from being sobbing and full on like hyperventilating crying to then just being like, oh my god, this is just as bad as the first 2 times I filmed this. But that's what my body will do. It will just start making funny sounds or funny noises, and I'll move around to like prove to myself that I'm no longer feeling sad. And then I will just not be sad. Yeah, well, that sounds weird. I get it. I do. I can hear it. I know it sounds weird. And to put that in perspective, it means that when the tap runs out and I'm no longer sad, it almost feels like my body is then just acting sad for no real purpose. So I've got to like shake that off. Takes like all of 5 seconds, 10 seconds, however long I want to spend pulling funny faces in the mirror and proving to myself that my brain is just not sad anymore, and then I'll just get on and do my thing. And it's happened in high pressure situations. Like, I recall this one time at university when I got a phone call, and it was just a not great news phone call. I was just about to go on stage to do like a 300 person speech, like a speech to 300 people in this big auditorium, and I cried for like 30 seconds, and then I nailed my speech for about 45 minutes. I gave off this lecture and I didn't feel anything, and that is just what my body does. That is what my body does. And for the longest time I thought I was somewhat sociopathic for feeling that. I don't do it in front of people, as I said. I've not spoken to anyone about it. I guess I was afraid to look into it more. Like, I didn't want to be classed as a sociopath. I didn't want to think that potentially I could be sociopathic. I'm telling you this, even though it's really embarrassing, because on this day, a little over a month ago, when I was crying on this very bed, Jamie was there, my partner of 9 years, and we don't have secrets. We don't not share anything. This was just one thing that I guess just hasn't come up, because it hasn't really been a case where he's been here when I've gotten that sad. And I was that sad. My brain did a thing where the tap went on and I was gushing and ugly crying and candles were coming out my nose, and I was like, rah! Then the water stopped and I just didn't feel. I didn't feel anymore, but I could see in this giant mirror that is from my wardrobes, my body was still being sad. I could see Jamie's face, because he's so kind and he's so wonderful, and he was just like, there, I will do what you need me to do. And then I just laughed, and he was just like, wait. And I can see why, because I realised, as I said, that that's not very normal. Can anyone relate? Oh my god, please say someone can relate. Let me just carry on with the story. After acting like a complete weirdo, I then said to Jamie, I'm sorry, I think I might be a bit of a sociopath, and this is why, and this is a common thing, and my brain just kind of stopped, and I didn't want to keep crying because it felt like I was now acting, and that's not right, right? And he didn't react how I thought he would. I thought he'd be like, yeah, we should probably speak to someone about that. He did say that I should speak to someone, but not because I had sociopathic tendencies. He was just like, you know what? That sounds to me like trauma. And I was like, oh, what's trauma? Obviously I know what trauma is, but like Asian culture doesn't really accommodate mental health. They don't believe that mental health exists. And so it's just not something that I thought of before. It's not something that I, Shaaba, realised I could have issues with, or that I needed to take care of it, because us Asians, what is mental health? Ugh. Feeling very weird for making this video because it's a weird thing to be disclosing to strangers on the internet. It is also just weird because I don't talk about my past. I don't want to talk about my past. It's not that I don't see the point in bringing up bad issues. Like, I feel like people always judge you. People always think, oh, you've done so well considering where you've come from. And it's like the weirdest non-compliment to receive. Hardly anyone knows about like my upbringing and how sort of like broken it was to its full extent. And it's great then, because when people think that you're doing well, I am a person who needs a lot of validation. I just hate the idea that telling people about my past will end up being like, oh, you did so good considering where you came from. So yeah, that's why I feel like, ugh, iffy talking about it. It's true, our backgrounds and our histories and our experiences make us into the people that we are today, and I guess I just didn't really think about it in that sense, which is that my upbringing has always taught me to turn off. I look at like my biggest role models. The one that I saw most often was always this way, and always packaged and presented this ability to turn off as a positive, as a strength. And for the longest time I'd be like, wow, she is so strong, she was so incredible, like, you are who I want to be, I can't believe you are this strong. And that is just how I saw her, a strong, fierce, independent person. And it's funny because like this ability to, I was going to say to put on a mask, where it's not really putting on a mask, because putting on a mask to me would mean that you're feeling sad on the inside, right? And you put on a mask of happiness so that the outside sees you as happy, but inside you're sad. It's not that you're putting on a mask of happiness to cover the inside which is sad. It's that there is no sad inside because your body is literally not feeling. Does that make sense? Oh my gosh. I can't believe this is the third time recording this video and I still can't articulate what I'm trying to say. There is no sadness left. There is no feeling left because you teach yourself not to feel, because you go through so much crap sometimes. You are told so much that you don't matter, that you are a woman and you don't speak, and you're a child and you don't speak, and mental health isn't a thing, and who cares how you feel? You play your role in this cog of this giant machine that makes us look good. Because that is what, at least in my environment, mattered most. We gotta look good. Like everyone knows that there's like cracks in all of these families and so many skeletons in all of these closets, but as long as you're looking okay, that is all that matters. And so that is why my role models, some more than others, certainly felt the need to just not feel. And that is, I think, how I grew up being too. And that sucks. That really sucks. I hate that. I hate that so much, and I hate that up until this moment with Jamie, I thought that made me a sociopath. I thought that it was just an innate thing that I was that was wrong. But no, I see that it's now a product of my upbringing, and I'm seeing now as well that it is not a strength, because that's another thing that I always used to say to myself, hey, it's fantastic that I can go and do a presentation even though I'm feeling really sad. What's not to like about that, you know? That's strength. Of course that's strength. And it's something that my role models would say a lot as well. We gotta do it. We're survivors. We're strong women, you and I. It's not strength. It's not strength. This was my big epiphany moment. And I realise now that it's not strength that I was seeing. It was resilience. It wasn't strength that I was portraying. It is resilience, and resilience is very different to strength. At least in my mind it is. So I googled the difference between resilience and strength. Resilience. And
website pub.clevertech.biz, they say, resilience is the ability to recover quickly from damage. Strength is defined as the ability to withstand a great force.
that's basically what I was just about to tell you. I thought it was really creepy that my Google just turned on, but it's probably because I said I googled. Stop Google. Stop. Resilience is the ability to withstand a lot of damage, and strength is the ability to withstand a great force. And I'm like, what does that mean? They sound like the same words to me, and I think that is such a misleading definition of strength. I realise now that what my role model was doing and what my ability of not feeling is not strength, it is resilience. Because it means you can face a great wave of shit coming at you and you can be like, you know what? My ability to turn that tap off and not feel means that I don't feel sad right now. That's what you're trying to make me do. And guess what? It's not working because I'm not sad. But that isn't strength. That was my big epiphany. Strength is not just withstanding the waves of shit. It's being able to put yourself in a position where those waves don't hit you. I just have to say I'm very proud of that metaphor. It came up right now just from my mind, and yay Shaaba. That was very good. But you see what I mean? It's a different thing because I look now at the position that I'm in and I look at the position that other people are in that I'm helpless towards, and I'm like, I cannot believe that I ever saw this as being strong. Sure, you can call yourself a survivor. Sure, you can say that we're moving forward and that this is the way that it has to be, but that is not strength, right? Strength is the ability to not put yourself in that position. It's not strong to keep being pounded time and time again with crap. It is not strength to feel like you deserve that. In my upbringing, in my environment, you're told that walking away is wrong. That's the weak thing to do. That is what you are shamed for doing. You don't do that. That's not allowed. How dare you run away, you coward. When the funny thing is that running away and putting yourself first is the true definition of strength. So yeah, that was my big epiphany. So going back to my emotional breakdown and what I learned from it, Jamie suggested that perhaps it was part of trauma, and having explored that and looked into it and not just thought that I was a sociopath or had sociopathic tendencies, I can see now that actually that ability to turn things on is not a good thing. Sometimes it might feel like a good thing if you've got a presentation coming up or you've just had an argument but you're trying not to think about it right that second, but actually what's really good is having the ability to feel. And I realise it's going to take me a very long time to get there. Maybe, ooh, new epiphany, maybe that's why I can be Poppy so much, because my body just turns off the sadness. It's like, oh, well, let's be happy, because being sad is just not very productive, you know? Because every time that sadness happens, Poppy goes in there and is turning off the tap and is like, hey, let's party. But that's not strength. That is the result of my emotional breakdown, realising the true definition of strength. So I think we should petition to change the Oxford Dictionary, because strength is not withstanding a great force. Maybe I can see how the physical definition of strength is to withstand a great force, but that's not what I'm talking about. Emotional strength is about having the ability to put yourself first and to feel, because we need to feel in order to feel good. How's it? Might put this one up, actually. Anyway, I hope that if there is someone out there who feels like a robot that just laughs and feels really weird for doing that, I want you to know that you're not alone. And it doesn't actually mean that you're a sociopath. Despite you thinking that, it is not the truth. It's something that seems like it's a good thing, but maybe it's just something that we need to like uncondition ourselves, untrain ourselves from, because it's good to feel. Awkward thumbs up time, yay! Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I will probably not make a video like this again, so I mean, if you want to subscribe you can do so for my other content, but not for this one. I will catch you next week on Tuesday with another video. Be kind and have a great day, everybody. Or, you know what, have a shit day. If that's how you need to feel, then feel, baby. Just feel.